Our first speaker today is Josh Simpson. Josh is the Director of Marketing for Kamps Propane family of companies, where he oversees the development of alternative fuels and the introduction of the little Kamper refillable propane cylinder. He serves on the board of the California Product Stewardship Council and is a husband, father, cook, runner, and avid outdoorsman. Josh will be talking about the innovation for creation, the little Kamper refillable propane tank. Please welcome up Josh Simpson.
Thank you very much. I got to tell you, it's very exciting for our company to be in front of this audience because we think that what we're doing is really cool, but we also know that the chances of making it work in California depends on people who are real advocates for environmentally intelligent solutions to common problems related to the manufacturing of products that end up in our waste stream. So having said that, I'm going to set this up here. That little thing is what we're talking about. And what I want to talk to you really quickly about is what we consider to be an innovation for recreation. And this is a part of a program that's being promoted through grants with Cal Recycle through the California Product Stewardship Council, on which I serve, and their campaign that's promoting refillable propane cylinders for recreation is called Refuel Your Fun. If you search it on Facebook or on Twitter, you'll find that there's assets out there. We would love for you to attach yourself to and help us promote this because it is something that we think is an important way to reduce the amount of waste that goes through our landfills in California. So very quickly, propane, in case you didn't know this, is the #1 fuel for recreation. It's commonly used for appliances that people use when they're on camping trips, tailgating. There are even devices like outboard engines and scooter engines that run on propane. A lot of people don't fully realize this, but it's a clean burning fuel. It does not contaminate soil or water, so you can use propane when you're out on camping trips, and it doesn't run the risk of, you can't spill it and accidentally either contaminate the soil or the water in the places where you're camping. It's stable in storage. If you put propane in a container and leave it on a shelf, it can sit there for years and years and years. It doesn't go bad. And although it's stored as a liquid, it's used as a gas, so there is about 275 times the volume of gas as there is liquid in a container. It actually contains enough gas for you to use it for a nice weekend camping trip. What's the problem? That's the problem. So some of these pictures were taken at facilities that a lot of us really enjoy visiting, for example, Yosemite. What you will find, unfortunately, is any place people go to enjoy recreation, they will leave these things behind. Now, 1-pound disposable cylinders in the state of California, we estimate that there are approximately 4 million of them sold and used every year. So if you think about what that looks like and then you multiply it out exponentially, you begin to realize why this is a problem. 6 million sold in California. And 2 years ago in Yosemite, there were over 20,000 of these left behind by people who were there for weekend camping trips. These are the propane tanks that are most commonly used by people who are on that type of a trip. So where do they come from? 1-pound disposable tanks are all manufactured by Worthington Industries here in the United States. Worthington actually then turns around and distributes them and sells them through just about every type of retailer that you can imagine. Obviously, places like sporting goods retailers are a major distributor of this product, but the reality of it is that they go out through convenience stores, Walmart, Safeway, you name it. The bottom line is that disposable cylinders are the common way for people to use gas in recreation, and our approach to that is to say, well, wait a second, let's look at what they cost. When you buy them in a big box retailer, you can get them for as low as about $2 for $5, but the more common price actually ends up somewhere around $4. The reality of it is that the consumer who's using a disposable cylinder is paying mostly for the cylinder, not so much for the gas that's inside of it. So what you see is that the marketplace will support a different approach. The economics of this is wide open for a better innovation. So here it is. This cylinder was introduced a couple of years ago by a manufacturer, Flame King. Flame King had this cylinder designed as a DOT-approved refillable 1-pound container. It's got a 12-year service life, so this can literally be used over and over and over again. But the most important thing about it is that when you use this container over and over again, you're not paying for the cylinder, right? So what do? We use things like this for our drinking water because it makes a lot more sense to just use the water and get the container as something that we reuse over and over and over again. Same thing applies to this. Now, our approach is to say that there's a smarter way to do this where we can actually make this a retail exchangeable product. So instead of a consumer using the gas that's inside of the cylinder and then having to go through the process of finding a place that would refill it, what we want to do is actually put it on the shelves of stores where you can walk in with your empty cylinder the same way you do with a barbecue cylinder that you use for your barbecue grill at home, and actually take in your empty one, pick up a full one, pay a very modest fee for it, and get yourself out of the process of throwing steel containers into the waste stream every time you want to use some gas for a recreational purpose. As we like to tell people, if you use 1 pound disposable cylinders, the 1 pound refillable cylinder is the more environmentally intelligent approach to using that gas. So, what is tank exchange? Tank exchange is the most common way for people to use propane in America today. If you look at how many people have barbecue grills on their back porch, most of those people, when they run out of gas, they take that empty cylinder down to a local convenience store, Safeway, Home Depot, any type of retailer that does tank exchange. They walk in with the empty cylinder, they pay a fee, they get a new cylinder that's already pre-filled. That process leaves the consumer in a position where they can easily obtain gas when they want it, but it doesn't involve anyone who doesn't know how to safely handle the material involved in the process of refilling the cylinder. It makes it inexpensive, it makes it convenient, and it makes it safe. So our process is to do the same thing that people have been doing with the barbecue cylinders that they use for their homes, to actually do the same thing with the cylinders that they use for recreation. This whole thing depends on the people who are most likely to use this 1 pound cylinder, reaching out, finding the places where they're available, purchasing the cylinder, using it, and also sharing the practice with their friends. The reality of it is that the entrenched distributor of the 1 pound disposable product has an extensive network of retail sales places. If that practice isn't disrupted by people who actually care about a more environmentally intelligent business practice, it's not going to go away. The only way that this is actually going to change is if people, like the people who are in this room, recognize the fact that a refillable cylinder makes a lot more sense, especially when it's effectively delivered at a cost that makes it cheaper than a disposable cylinder. If you take the time, if you use these things, acquire the refillable cylinder, share the information with your friends, we think that it's only a matter of time before this becomes the industry standard. But in order for that to happen, we need your help. So if you would, please check out the Refuel Your Fun campaign assets. Again, the California Product Stewardship Council is one of our biggest assets in terms of getting the word out about this product. But I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
We do have some time for questions and answers. Todd, did you have a question?
Yeah, question. You mentioned that it's recyclable at the end of life. Is that through the program, or how is it recycled?
Yes, yes. So we take these back.
Will you also accept the non-refillables for recycling?
So that's a really great question. One of the reasons why we're doing this is because as a propane retailer, people frequently bring us their 1 pound disposable cylinders because they don't know where to take them. And we do, as a business practice, actually, we recover the gas that is sometimes left in the cylinders, and then we actually prepare them for recycling, which involves venting the tank and then flattening it so it can be sold as scrap steel. But the reality of it is, we don't sell those disposable cylinders. So essentially, we're handling the waste stream of the retail disposable model.
Idea just came to mind. Maybe when you open it up take back the other products, single use, give them a discount on purchase of the new one.
Actually, you're exactly right, and that's one of the next marketing practices that we've got built into what we're doing this summer. So you'll see campaigns that are basically built around bring us your empties and we'll exchange them either at a deep discount or in some cases I think we're actually talking about doing a straight giveaway. So you're exactly right.
I wanted to point out that as a processor of recyclables, those things blow up in our balers. We don't want them in the recycling, and they have killed people in our balers.
I'm afraid to tell you that that is not going to change unless we can really all agree that it makes more sense to reuse a cylinder, because if this becomes commonplace, that will gradually go away. If it does not, it won't change. Any other questions?
Maybe one more? Yeah.
How many retailers or any retailers currently doing this as you guys?
Yeah, actually, thanks for the question. If you go to the refuelyourfun.org website, that's where you can find retail locations that are currently selling and exchanging these cylinders. So one of the big things for us is it's a chicken and egg problem, and we're dealing with it as quickly as we can, but it is expensive to expand the distribution when there's a limited amount of market demand just because people don't even know about it.
Great. Thank you. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Josh.
Thank you.
Thank you.